Hyundai channel. My name is Gabby, and today I have the 2025 Kia Niro Hybrid in the EX trim level. Now this is a perfect car if your weekdays are full of commuting and your weekends require cargo space. This is our compact crossover, only available as either a hybrid, a plug-in hybrid, or even a fully electric car. So the Niro is a green dedicated vehicle. We have no straight gas model. Now today we're going to do a full in-depth walkthrough of everything you need to know about this particular trim level, and because we're doing this live in real time, that means we have live stream viewers. If you guys have any questions at any point throughout the video, please let us know in the live chat box. It should be somewhere on your screen right now, and if you're watching this in the future and we're not live right now, just leave a comment down below with any questions you might have because I check them every single day. So without further ado, we'll stop yapping about yapping and get talking about the car. Gonna have Adam flip over the camera and I'll mention the price point first off. So we're at $32,795 for the EX model, and that is Canadian dollars. This is also the Canadian model EX. So if you guys are watching from the States or any other market, you might have different equipment in your Niro, and of course the price point will be different too. First, start off on the front end. Now on the EX model, this is one up from the entry trim level. We often say this is probably the best trim level to get, depending on your needs of course, but it offers the best bang for your buck, and that's for sure on this car. Headlamps, we have a mix of LEDs and regular bulbs, so halogen bulbs. You'll see the main headlamp is that halogen, that's why we have that warm glow. But do not be alarmed, halogens are not bad. They actually do emit a little bit of heat, so come wintertime in Canada, we get snow and ice, a lot of it packs onto the front of your car. It actually melts it off a little bit, so best of both worlds really if you ask me. They're also going to be less expensive to replace. Now in terms of LED, our daytime running lights and our positioning lights are LEDs that just turned off. Give me 1 second, I'll get them back on. This is how you guys can tell it's a live stream video, so things happen. It's not always perfect, but we work through it. While I'm here, I might as well pop the hood too because we'll talk powertrain next. In terms of styling, I love the way Kia redesigned the Niro. This is the second generation of the Niro for us here in Canada. Oh!
Keep going, keep going.
Something just fell on top of Adam. Anyway, for the styling on this car, it doesn't look overly done. It doesn't look like how some people imagine hybrids to be with badging everywhere saying it's a green vehicle. It looks relatively normal. So we have a lot of horizontal lines that really widen the front end of the vehicle. Adam, if you want to give a pan of the front end of the car, you guys will see what I'm talking about. It looks like we have a regular grille, and that's because we do. You'll notice a lot of EVs have a completely flat front, and we don't have that on this car, so there is airflow because we have an engine to cool. However, this vehicle is built with aerodynamics and efficiency in mind, so there's a couple spots I'm going to point out where that really comes into play from the design standpoint. In terms of your Kia emblem, it's finished in a brushed aluminum, so a lighter contrast, and you'll notice that follows through with some of the other exterior elements. So this trim piece across the front end is a bit of a satin chrome, not a full-blown old man's chrome like you'll see in a classic Cadillac, but a nice touch for sure, making this car look modern. Now let's pop the hood and talk powertrain. The hybrid is only available with one engine option, and that is a 1.6-liter gasoline direct injection 4-cylinder. Now, it's not just the gas engine that works to power this vehicle. We also have an electric motor. Now, the electric motor itself produces about 43 horsepower. It's a, hold on, I believe 42 kilowatt electric motor. That is the power that makes 43 horsepower, giving you a grand total horsepower and torque output at 139 horse with 195 pound-feet of torque. So it's not race car numbers, but it's a vehicle that can get you to and from work or wherever you gotta go efficiently. The vehicle is rated at about 4.4 liters per 100 kilometers combined, so that is highway and city driving. Somewhere where hybrids really stand out, especially compared to a regular gas vehicle of the same size class, is if you're sitting in stop-and-go traffic or you're coasting on the highway, just coasting around a parking lot, letting your vehicle drive at a relatively calm speed. A lot of the time this vehicle will actually sit in electric mode, so it won't be using the gasoline engine at all. Even when it is using the gas engine, you still have that electric motor and your battery pack on standby. So when you're braking or slowing down, your brakes or regenerative braking, instead of just slowing your car, will also be adding power back into your battery. So there's no need to plug in this car. The only thing you'll do to refuel it is, I was about to say charge it, but put gas in it. It only takes gas from you as a person. For the wheels, we have a 17-inch alloy, And here is an element where we see aerodynamics. You'll notice that there's a little bit more going on with the wheel than your typical gas car. That's because this is an Aeroblade style alloy meant to minimize air resistance and maximize the airflow. For our tire, the tire size is 205/60 R16s. Sorry, did I say this is a 17-inch wheel? It's a 16. There is a larger wheel option available on the SX model, which is the top trim level of the Kia Niro. Now that will have slightly worse fuel efficiency, of course, just due to the size. But if efficiency is all you're after, the 16 is certainly the way to go on the EX model. All right, I'll talk about brakes real quick. So up at the front, we have larger ventilated disc brakes, and then the rear will have solid, smaller disc brakes. So discs all around. Surrounding your wheel, you have a little bit of black plastic molding. So this is great for longevity and overall appearance of your car. It's not a paint or glossy material that shows scratches, especially come wintertime where there's a lot of salt and debris on the roads. Your windshield, right over here, is an acoustic laminated windshield. So the film inside, there's an extra inner layer meant to kind of reduce some wind noise, road noise, and give you an overall quieter cabin. With the Hybrid 2, most of the time it's going to be quiet or quieter than a regular gas car simply because the engine isn't going to be as noisy. It's not a huge engine, and you have the vehicle running in EV mode quite a bit of time. For your mirrors, we get body color with a turn signal indicator mounted on the side. I'll run into the vehicle and turn on the hazards just so you can see them in action. And I'll actually have Adam give a quick walk around of the car while I do that so you can see what our turn signals look like when the vehicle is driving. Or I guess what your hazards look like. There we go. So those, of course, are your turn signal indicators, but also your hazard lights. And then towards the side, you'll see the repeaters on our mirror. And then, of course, we will see the headlamps. I've just powered on the vehicle, and you may have not been able to hear that happen because the gas engine did not turn on. So here's a prime example of a lot of the times when you're sitting at an idle or, haven't left your driveway yet or your garage yet, your car will be in EV mode. So very efficient at times where a regular gas car would be completely inefficient. Engine's running, but you're not going anywhere. The vehicle has a full tank of gas right now, and it's sitting at 756 kilometers of rated driving range. Now that's not full electric driving range, of course. We don't have a rated range on a hybrid the way we do on plug-in hybrids or a full EV. But how you see that tank, your full tank, half tank, quarter tank, extend or expand itself is really based on how you drive. So if your driving is largely stop and go in the city, you could see that be a lot longer or a lot more efficient. For your trunk area, here is where the Niro shines. It's a true crossover with a hatch, or I guess a back. So lots of height, lots of width, and depth-wise, we're working with a lot of space. It's still a compact vehicle, mind you, so it's not going to be something as large as our full SUVs, but it's extremely work-withable, my very official term. You can knock down the rear seats if you need a completely flat back surface, if you're simply moving cargo around. And as you can see, all of our rear seats have car seat tethers. There we are. All right, I'm going to lift the floorboard back here just to show you guys what we've got underneath. So most of our hybrid vehicles do not come with a spare. Instead, they have something called a mobility kit, and that's what this is here. So wrapped in the blue bubble wrap, we have our inflator. And then in this plastic, we have this sealant. They work together to not only reinflate your tire if you get a puncture, but also seal the hole. So if you are losing air because you picked up a nail, you can use that to reinflate yourself, get you back on the road until you can replace or repair your tire. I'm going to close this up so we can take a look at the exterior design on the rear. So we have our LED taillights, a high-mounted stop lamp that's integrated into the spoiler, our rear wiper, of course, and then our Kia emblem in that same brushed aluminum that we have up at the front. For rear parking, we do have integrated ultrasonic sensors on the back bumper. So we have 4 throughout the rear, repeated on the driver's side as well. And anytime I'm reversing my car and I approach something else like a vehicle, a wall, or pedestrian even, it'll warn me with an audible alert. But of course, I also have a backup camera as an extra set of eyes for what's around me. Not just that, but this car also has an active safety function called Rear Cross Traffic Collision Avoidance Assist. And boy, that never gets easier to say on these videos, but essentially if again, I was reversing out of a busy parking lot and a car were to drive up from behind me, it'll warn me inside the cabin, and if I fail to brake and the car senses I'm about to hit them, it'll slam on the brakes for me to avoid said collision. So great active safety on the car, and that's just the tip of the iceberg because we also have a whole lot more. So let me give you a quick rundown of everything we got safety-wise or active safety-wise. There's also forward collision avoidance on this vehicle, so that'll use the camera located in the windshield to monitor what's going on ahead of you. Pedestrians, cyclists, and other cars. If someone were to cut me off and slam on the brakes, my vehicle would warn me with a pretty loud audible alert and then apply brake force if I as a driver don't do anything. So in the chance, it can either avoid or mitigate, kind of lessen the impact of a collision. It's meant to avoid it, but sometimes it's unavoidable. We also have lane keep and lane following assist, which utilize that same windshield camera to watch the lanes ahead of you, to not just ping pong you or warn you when you're departing, but to actively see upcoming changes like bends on the road and steer you to make sure you're always centered. So it's not an annoying function, and everything can be turned on or off from the steering wheel. So if you're not a fan of it, you don't have to find a menu while you're driving to get it off. It's easy. I did mention I would talk more about the aerodynamics of the vehicle and how they work themselves into the design, so I already mentioned the wheels, but let's talk about the C-pillar here too. So from the side, it might be easier if I grab the camera at them. From the side, it may look like it's just, a regular body panel, but look over here and you can see your way out of it. So it's an actual pillar or air blade pillar. You may have noticed something similar on the Audi R8, which yes, is a sports or even supercar, depending on what you want to call it. But the Niro, it uses it for other purposes. It's not just track aerodynamics, it's efficiency aerodynamics. So air effectively channels through that, doesn't get caught, and it just minimizes some drag and air resistance. Pretty cool. Your fuel tank is a 43-liter tank, 43 or 42. I'll have to check back on that when we do our Q&A. But it's either one of those, so a relatively small tank. Only regular unleaded fuel is necessary. And then in terms of convenience, we have our proximity button on both the driver and passenger door handles. So as long as the key fob is on you, you can press that to unlock your vehicle and allow you to hop inside without fumbling for your keys. A couple other body points. We do have more of that black plastic molding. I guess I was going to say scaffolding, molding. And that, of course, is in a kind of high-touch area, so minimize scratches or scuffs from your pants or whatever you might be carrying around with you. Your suspension in the rear is a multi-link suspension, so not only is that great for handling, if you want to track this car, just kidding, it's great for your average day-to-day drive. So if it's a lot of potholes, a lot of speed bumps, it just helps things handle a little bit better. It's also a very easy car to drive, so it's not a huge vehicle, it doesn't feel like you're driving a school bus. It's zippy, it's very much handles like a car, but you get the space of a crossover. I'm gonna hop inside and show you guys around the cabin a little bit, starting off with the driver's door, and then we'll check out the seat. So the Niro has a very upscale interior, even though this is more so an introductory trim level. You get a nice piano black panel here along your door. Up at the top, where you actually touch the door, no piano black, so great for fingerprint resistance. You got your mirror adjustments up at the top. They are heated and electronically controlled, with your door lock and unlock, and then an express window for the driver with regular power windows for the rest of the car. Your door handle has a satin chrome finish, so a little bit more fancy materials. And then we have a 6-speaker regular in-house audio system. As far as airbags go, there are 7 airbags in the Kia Niro. And then steering wheel, it gets upgraded on the EX model. So we get a leatherette wrapped wheel, not only giving you a just nicer surface to hold on to, but it's also going to be heated starting on this trim. The left-hand side has all of your controls reserved for driver assistance. So we have our smart cruise control up at the top, our distance, not distance, but speed, so increase or decrease using the toggle. And then we have our following distance down at the very bottom, which is an icon that looks like a car with a few lanes behind it. There's 4 different lane presets or following distance presets, each of which kind of generate a car length. So 4 car lengths, 3 car lengths, 2 car lengths, 1 car lengths. Even if you're at the closest, it's still a relatively safe distance, so if someone were to cut in, you've got room. Below that, we have our drive mode select. So this allows you to put your vehicle into sport mode or eco mode, however you'd prefer the car to handle. Now, this doesn't exactly add horsepower, but what it does do is change the way the vehicle is responding to your driver input. So if I had my vehicle in sport mode, it's going to allow it to hold its gear a little bit longer and get the most out of the power band. It's also going to make the throttle feel a little bit more sensitive, so if I like that more responsive feel, you might prefer sport mode. That being said, it does consume slightly more fuel, but it's nothing too crazy. Again, if you mash the gas pedal at every green light, your car isn't going to be as efficient as rated. But if you're fairly easy on it, gentle on it, it can really extend and exceed your expectations. So let me tell you what options we have. We've got two of them. So there is an eco mode and a sport mode on this car. Eco mode is going to change gears a little bit quicker to always keep you in the most efficient gear. You'll also notice it spends more time in EV mode on eco. Sport mode does prioritize a little bit more power from the gas engine. You will still have moments of EV range, but that'll be at very slow speeds or at stops. You have your tachometer and speedometer digitized at all times just to show you what your vehicle's operating on right now. And then up at the top we have our distance to empty for our fuel tank. Pretty cool. Gonna take this from Adam and show you guys our paddle shifters real quick. So we have steering wheel mounted paddles. Lesser paddle, higher paddle, so downshift and upshift, that's what they do. And if you'd like to cycle through your 6-speed dual clutch, that is what you'd use because it's fun. Sometimes fun to use. You can choose your gears to your liking. And of course, with this vehicle, the paddle shifters do not change the level of regen like they do on vehicles like our current hybrid Sportage. Regen is all controlled by how you stop and also a setting menu or a setting option in our menu. I'll show you guys that in a second. All right, Adam, do you want to come around? Okay, while Adam works his way around, I'll show you guys the main screen real quick. The EX model will start you off with this larger display. It has a 10.25-inch screen size and it's fully touchscreen. This is also our introductory trim to having in-house navigation. So if you don't carry your phone on you at all times, or if you don't want to use your Apple Maps or Google Maps, you can use the in-house nav. But we still have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It'll just be wired on this trim. So wired is not a bad thing. I know a lot of people prefer wireless, but let me tell you why I am a true believer in wired and why I want it back. Wired CarPlay, essentially you can use your phone's cable, you need your phone, you plug it in and it connects. I like that because it makes my phone heat up less and the responsiveness is far quicker than a wireless CarPlay. So that's my personal opinion. Anyway, you guys don't have to agree with me, but that's what I think. Back to our regen and our hybrid menus. So the hybrid menu is located on the screen right over here. It shows you where your energy flow is currently coming from. So right now, the vehicle is not technically on, but it's showing both. We have our average fuel economy listed here and then our electric motor use. This car has not really been driven, so there's nothing to report for electric motor use, but as you own the car and do your daily drives with it, it'll kind of generate a report to tell you what your efficiency is like, if you're getting the most out of your car. Fun thing about hybrids too is they almost become a little game, a little personal game for you. You're going to try to maximize the amount of time you spend in EV mode as you get to know your car, and it just works out. It's a nice, fun, efficient game. All you end up doing is saving more on fuel. Now I'm just going to head over into the vehicle's setting menu, and here you can go ahead and change some of your driver assistance functions. So if you're not a fan of the warnings, you think they're a bit too loud or there's too much going on, you can turn them off or adjust them more so to your liking. The best part about this is you can't break the car. All of these can be turned on later again. It's not going to affect you. Back to here, there's also a separate menu for Eco Vehicle. And here's where you can use your coasting guide and turn on things like smart regeneration. So if you have this on, the vehicle will automatically adjust how strong the regen pull is based off how you're driving. So if it's a high traffic area, your regen will be a bit stronger because it senses a lot of stop and go. On the highway, you're probably not going to want max regen because if you let off the gas pedal, you want to keep coasting. You don't want to slow down, right? Either way, the car will decide based off traffic conditions and the road. Our lights just went off on the outside, so I'm going to run out and trigger them back on. They are motion sensor lights, unfortunately. And while I talk about that, I'll also mention one of the benefits of hybrids that not too many people think about. So as far as maintenance goes, this car still has a gas engine, so you still will be doing oil changes. But brakes, because this vehicle can do a lot of regenerative braking, which a lot of people don't realize this, but it doesn't use your actual friction brakes. Your brake pads are not being used for this. Instead, it spins your electric motor in the opposite way. Instead of propelling you forwards, it spins in reverse, and that kinetic energy is what powers your battery or recharges your battery. It also slows your car down. So because of this, we have an extended brake life. But you also have to use your friction brakes every once in a while. So it's a good thing to do to, kind of give your car a good hard braking every once in a while to get that rust off, especially if you're someone who uses a lot of regen. Anyway, there's also a separate menu called Green Zone Driving Mode, and this will make the vehicle prioritize electric range when it senses you're in an EV or green zone. So think school zones, hospitals, even residential areas. It'll try its best, if available, to keep you in EV mode. If you slam on the gas, go to try something, it will of course turn on your gas engine, but it still prioritizes EV driving. Adam has a question.
About the regenerative braking, can you turn that off?
Regen braking? I mean, you can turn off smart regeneration for the braking, but you can't turn off regen braking. With that being said, this isn't a full EV with regen paddles. So what you will do, let's say you're coming to a hard brake, someone ahead of you is slowed down. It's going to use a little bit of regen, but a lot of it is your friction brakes. If you're just letting off the accelerator and allowing your vehicle to coast, regen automatically applies. It's going to be lighter if it's simply coasting, but if you do have the smart regen system on, it'll apply a little bit more brake too. So the downgrade or the decline in speed will be a bit more dramatic. But of course, it uses current traffic conditions. If it's on the highway and you're at speed, it's not going to slow you down to a complete stop. But if you're in stop and go traffic, it might. Pretty cool. All right, we have our hazards button just below. So that of course will turn on your flashers or your four-way lights. And then just below that, we have both an infotainment screen. So this will jump us to our map if I press the map icon. And it also allows me some media controls too, like my radio or my media menu. When I press the fan, however, this turns into our climate screen. So I can set my temperature for the driver, also select driver only if I'm just commuting in the car by myself. And we do have dual zone climate control starting on this trim level. So if I have passengers with me, they can set their separate temperature, or if I have a front passenger, I should say. Just going to turn that off for now. Right below, we have our wireless phone charger. It's just on the main panel on the bottom. We also have a 12 volt, a USB in the center for wired CarPlay and Android Auto, and then a USB-C for faster charging. This will be our starting trim level for a push-to-start ignition. That also means we have integrated remote start and Kia Connect, which is the app access. Your gear shift is a regular lever, which is quite rare for our hybrids. So drop it into drive. You can shift gears just like this if you'd like. Then we got our heated seats on either side for driver and passenger, heated steering wheel, our auto hold braking function, and then our parking brake. Below that, we have our cup holders. So they are adjustable. Just pop them out at your convenience. And then we can take a quick look at our key. So it's Kia Smart Key. Got our lock, our unlock, our remote start right down here, and then our panic button. The key itself is actually located inside. Let's see if I can pull it out. I will say they're a little bit harder than some manufacturers to get the physical key out, but that's a good thing because sometimes they just slide right out if they're not tightly in place. So physical key, if God forbid you ever have a dead battery on either the car or the key fob, this is how you get into the car. And we have done a video on the process if you'd like to see that. Your center console is a little funky. It's pretty small. Even though the cover is larger than the actual covered space, it's still good to have some space there. Now I'm just gonna have Adam highlight the ambient lighting. So there is a slight tinge of yellow. You can change the color if that's not your thing. But just elevates the cabin a little bit, gives it a little bit more customization and personality. Now we'll take a look at the rear seats and then answer your questions in real time. Oh, Adam, I didn't mention my seat, so I'm gonna take this from you just to go over the controls. So this is a manual driver's seat. You can adjust the height with this lever here, so you pump it up to increase the height, pump it down if you would like it to be a little bit lower, and then this is your backrest adjustment. The bar underneath will allow you to move the seat on its rail, so if you want to bring it closer to the dash or bring it further back, it's just all going to be manual controls. We'll also show the passenger side, of course. Nice thing about the hood is it is hydraulic, so no prop arm. And our seat for the passenger is exactly the same as the driver's. So we got our bar to adjust it on the rail, our height adjustment, and then our backrest adjustment. A great thing about the Niro Hybrid too is we have 4 trim levels to choose from. So there's the entry model LX, and that's great if all you really care about is the size of the vehicle and the efficiency. It will be a little bit more basic in terms of functions, so it won't be a push to start with remote start, it won't have app access, and it won't have a heated steering wheel, but it uses the same powertrain, gets great efficiency, and the overall style of the vehicle will be largely similar. Now I'm going to take a seat on the furthest seat here. The material's back here. So the Niro EX has a mix of both leatherette and cloth. And the great thing about this is cloth seats do not get as hot as leather or leatherette in the summer. And where the insert is actually where you sit. And that allows you to sink in a little bit. It's a little bit more comfy, almost like a couch. So actually it's a huge win. Some people may think, oh, cloth seats. No, this is good. This is very good. And you still get the style of the leatherette. Your center seat is going to be more narrow, of course. It's not too elevated, so if I were to sit in it, my feet aren't too high where I feel like I'm all folded in on myself, but I still got plenty of room around me. This car definitely looks small, especially from the outside, but the interior, you get into it and you realize how wide it really is. It's a really spacious crossover, especially for a compact. The backs of the seats ahead of me, they're built smart. So we have built-in USB-Cs. This is good because it's not by the center person's legs. So if you have a full house back here, everyone has a seat, it can kind of be a little weird having all these cords by your feet. It's better to have them up there. You also get rear air vents and then built-in storage pockets. So this is a hard plastic material, very easy to wipe down if you get kids that like to kick the backs of your seats. And then on the upper seat back area, you'll notice that we have a little bit of a groove here. This is meant to double as a hanger, so if you want to hang a bag or a jacket, just keeps things away from your rear passenger's feet. Pretty nice if you ask me. Now that's about it for the back here. I guess I can show you guys our cup holder and armrest situation. So this pops down if no one's sitting here, and then you take a little snooze back here, have your drinks, becomes a little conversation pit, and it's a very spacious rear seat. That being said, of course I have to admit, I'm fairly shorter. I moved this vehicle, so the seat is up a little bit. This seat is further back, so let me just give you a quick comparison. You can see I still have a lot of room underneath the seat to put my feet if I need to. My knees are nowhere near touching the back. And then headrest-wise, or headroom-wise, I should say, I've got a lot of space. Seriously, a lot of space. I'm not really sure how it's picking up on camera, but
It's a lot.
it's a lot of room. So it's a very impressive cabin for sure, and especially from the outside. Let me close up the doors again so you can see. It doesn't look like a massive vehicle. It's not too tall looking, it's not too long, but it is surprisingly spacious. That being said too, I'm really happy that the bits of black plastic that we do have don't look cheap like some cars. It doesn't look overly done. It's just in tasteful areas that really complement the exterior of this car. So it is a very good looking crossover. And I'm not someone who's really a crossover fan for the most part. This one looks good. Very good. Oh, as far as hybrid styling too, like I mentioned earlier, this car doesn't plaster that it's a hybrid everywhere. It's relatively normal looking, but there is hybrid designation on the very passenger rear area. That's the only real portion that kind of indicates that this vehicle is not a regular gas car, but you know, there's no leafs or anything everywhere and nothing too weird. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about the Niro in terms of styling. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. So let's get into it. So I can't believe we're at 28 minutes already. Can you use the key to start the engine? Yes, let me grab the key from inside. I'll close the hood too. Okay, so remote starting a car is very easy. Sometimes when people have issues doing it, they might not be doing the correct sequence because it doesn't exactly give you the steps on the key fob. So in order to remote start it, you're going to press lock first, and then you're going to press and hold the remote start button. Of course, this vehicle is probably not going to start with the gas engine on. It'll start in EV mode. So the signal that it went through will be the lights flashing on the vehicle. So we're going to lock it. Then we're going to press and hold remote start, and you should see the hazards flash again. There we go. So the car is now on. The great thing about remote starting your vehicle this way too is yes, the vehicle is on, but it's not in a drivable state and the doors are locked. So if you remote start it in your driveway, you don't have to worry about someone hopping in your car and taking it. It's not like that. The car is not drivable. If I were to break the window and hop in, I cannot put it in drive and go. It'll recognize that I don't have the key with me and will turn off. Now, if you'd like to turn off the vehicle, you can just press the remote start button again, and it'll disengage the remote start command. Pretty cool. All right, I also mentioned earlier, but I can go a little bit more in depth on it. The Niro EX is the introductory trim level to Kia Connect. That's Kia's app. It's free for 3 years. After that, it is a subscription, and you can opt in or out. But that lets you start your vehicle from your phone and select the exact temperature that you'd like it to be at. So if it's a relatively weird weather day, you can turn on the heat fully or the AC fully. You can even turn on the heated seats and the heated steering wheel. That way you hop in the car and everything's the way you like it. Oh, you can also tell if your doors are locked or unlocked. I was so bad at this. I'm very bad at locking my cars. So every time I'd park my Forte outside, I'd walk in, sit at my desk, and then after 2 minutes, I always got a notification on my phone saying, your Forte number has unlocked doors. If you press the notification, it sends a command to lock them for you, so you don't have to run back out with your key and, lock it. Question, is there a way to lock the doors from the outside when it's running? It just beeps at me angrily. I don't think it's locking the doors. So there's not an easy way to do it. So if your vehicle does not have remote start and what you choose to do is to run outside in your driveway, start your vehicle, and then run back out. If you have both keys with you, I suppose you could leave one key in the car and then lock the other one, and then lock it with your other key, your spare key. But I understand sometimes you're not going to be carrying both keys with you. There's not a generally safe way to do it. I would recommend maybe installing an aftermarket remote starter. Here at Kia, we use MAS. They're the electronics company that install it, and that way it is also, if anything goes wrong with it, you still have your warranty. But aftermarket remote starters are a great thing to have if your car doesn't have it from factory. I see versions of the Niro where the panel behind the rear doors is a different color, usually black or gray in contrast to the overall body color. Yes, so that is an option. It's only available on the SX model with select exterior paints, but you can get the other color C-pillar. One thing we actually just did at our dealership too, we had a customer, so it's typically gloss black, and they wanted matte, so we did a matte wrap for them. What else? Ooh, what type of transmission does the Kia Niro Hybrid use, and how does it affect the driving experience? So this particular trim level, the Hybrid, is going to have a 6-speed dual clutch. So a dual clutch has very, very quick shifts. It makes a lot of sense on our hybrids because it's also efficient. It's quick and efficient shifts. It gives you a little bit more of a good response, a little bit more dynamic response than something like a CVT or an IVT, because you actually feel the gear shifts. It's not like a droning feeling. Okay. All right, I think that's about it. Gabi, pause the live for a second from your watch. I don't even think I can. Wait, maybe I can. Let's see if that works.
Oh.
I don't think it did. All right, you guys, thank you for watching. If you like this video, if you want to see more like it, definitely check out our channel. We do all things Kia and Hyundai and live stream walkthroughs every single weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, if you have any other questions I didn't get to answer, let me know in the comments. I will answer them, I will check them, and I see them all. Till then, take care. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. Bye-bye.